I've just hooked a nice snapper here on a running rig. And a running rig's quite good when you're fishing channels, harbours. You put your sinker at the top, then you have a swivel and a trace. It's quite a common rig, but very effective for this type of fishing, channel fishing. And this is going to be quite a nice little panny. I think I can lift this one. Oh. Little harbour snapper on the running rig. So one of the most common rigs we use in fishing is called the running rig. And it's a pretty easy rig to tie. What it consists of is normally a sinker that runs up and down your main line. Then you have a swivel, and here I've got a Black Magic rolling swivel. That attached to that is a trace. Now for where I'm fishing today, I'm using 40-pound trace because there's a chance of big snapper, decent kingfish, things like that. The weight of your trace is normally governed by the sort of species that you're targeting. So if they're smaller species, you could probably go 20-pound, 30-pound. Bigger species, 40, 50, 60, even right up to 100-pound. In most situations, I use the Black Magic Tough Trace because I find that's the most resilient when bait fishing. When it comes to hook selection on a running rig, again, you select a hook which is going to suit the species that you're chasing, whether it's a suicide or a recurve hook. I've got a KLT 5-bar Black Magic here, which is ideal for general fishing. But if you're fishing for those smaller species, again, you can probably go for a 1-2-bar bait holder style hook, or a recurve hook, or a beak hook. So there's plenty of choices there. The main thing to remember is to keep changing your sinkers and make sure they're running freely. One of the downsides to a running rig is if you're casting it, the sinker can slide right up your line. And what we tend to do in that situation, it's caused by the bait being heavier than the sinker when you're casting. Up the line a bit, we tie a little stopper knot, and that stops the sinker running up the line and getting your line all tangled up. Generally you use round sinkers or bean sinkers for a running rig, but if you need really, really heavy sinkers, you use a boom. So when you're fishing in high current areas and you need a big sinker, you don't really want a sinker running up and down on your line because it can wear it out. So what we tend to do there is what we use a sliding boom, and that protects your line a lot. And also what we do, where the boom hits the swivel, we put a soft bead or a hard bead to protect the knot from banging. So it's the same rig, you still got your trace and your hook at the end of it, but you're using much heavier sinkers and a sliding boom. So that's the other way to do a running rig. It's very simple but very effective, and the nice thing about this is when the current changes, you can simply change the weight, put a lighter weight, heavier weight on depending on the current. Like I say, if you're using up to about 4-ounce sinkers, they can slide up and down on the line, but when you go to those heavier sinkers, they can really damage your line by rubbing backwards and forwards. So use a sliding boom and a little bead at the end to protect your knot, protect your line. So one of the tricks with the running rig is to stay in contact with your line. So when you drop it to the bottom, just have it so it's just in tension, so that sinker's just sitting on the bottom. And you're always feeling for those bites, whether you're using a bait runner reel, overhead reel, you can use any style of reel. And yeah, always feel for the bite. And that's probably the best thing about the running rig, that it gives you that direct contact with the sinker through to your line. And if a fish wants to take off with it, it can pull it without feeling the weight of the sinker. That's where bait runner style reels come into their own. Makes you feeling a bit of a touch there, but it's not moving much. Yep, touch, bite. Yep. Fish on. Pretty shallow here, only 8 metres. We're targeting a certain sort of fish that I really love to catch. It's a real cool looking fish and it tastes great. The current's pretty strong here at the moment, so we're using the running rig with the sinker boom. Oh yes, here it is. So a nice gurnard. They're beautiful fish. See, there's the running rig. Quite a heavy sinker on this one. And there's the result. The running rig, perfect for fishing in channels, shallow harbours, anywhere where you want to put a big sinker down and still stay in contact with your bait.